Greetings and salutations, everyone. It is I, the Velvet Vampire, and today we are in St. Augustine, Florida, here at the Huguenot Cemetery. And today's little tale about the Huguenot involves a man by the name of Judge John B. Stickney. You see, in the late 1800s, Judge Stickney came down from the north right after the Civil War. He was known as what's called a carpetbagger. And at first he was met with a lot of, let's just say, not niceness from the locals, but very, very quickly Judge Stickney won the populace of St. Augustine over because he did a lot of pro bono cases. He worked very, very hard for the people of St. Augustine, and he became beloved. Well, he went on a business trip to Washington, D.C. with some fellow judges, and he was already feeling a little bad. And on that trip, Judge Stickney passed away. What he died of was typhoid fever. And his body was interred right in the middle of the cemetery where you see that very large, let's see if I can get it in focus, where you see that very big obelisk. That's Judge Stickney's grave. And for years, Judge Stickney sat in his tomb in peace here. He had two daughters who went to live up in Washington, D.C. with a friend of his named Judge John Locke. Now, sorry, Judge John Law. I apologize. Now, when Judge Law passed away, the two Stickney daughters decided that they wanted both of their fathers, their surrogate father and their natural father, to be buried next to each other. So they sent money down to St. Augustine. They hired a grave digger to come out, dig up Judge Stickney, put him in a new coffin, new dressing, and send him up to Washington, D.C. Well, on the day that happened, it was mid-July, and it was incredibly hot. If you've ever been in the South, you ever been in St. Augustine in July, it is sweltering hot. So the gravedigger came in, dug up Judge Stickney, and took a nap. It was hot. The train wasn't arriving for a little while, so he took a little nap. During that time, two drunkards from a bar that way meandered into the cemetery, and they knew that Judge Stickney was a wealthy man. He was rolling in it. So they kicked open his coffin lid and they started rooting through him, and they took his watch, they took his rings, and they also took all of Judge Stickney's gold teeth, just ripped them right out of his skull. When all this commotion was happening, the gravedigger woke up, chased these two ne'er-do-wells out of the cemetery, realized what they had done to Judge Stickney. The gravedigger was mortified, but there really wasn't anything he could do. So he packed up Judge Stickney as best he could in the new coffin, shipped him up north for his reburial, and that was it. Now, for decades, for over 100 years now, people walking by the Huguenot Cemetery have sworn that they've seen a man dressed sort of like I'm dressed today, in a frock coat, nice suit, top hat, walking amongst all the graves, periodically stopping to bend down and look. And most people believe that that is Judge John B. Stickney. And what's he looking for? Well, there's two theories. One, he's looking for all his missing items and his missing teeth. Or two, Judge Stickney is looking for those two ne'er-do-wells who ripped him apart all those years ago here in the Huguenot Cemetery. And let me tell you, when Judge Stickney finally finds him, there's going to be hell to pay.